In this episode, we are going to see an unexpected conclusion of the conflict between the teams of Universe 6 and 10. Among other things, the magic abilities of Lilyview will be revealed, and the rampage of the Berserk Saiyan Kale will come to a conclusion. With no more to say, let's begin. Murisam and Napapa were eliminated. Lilyview says softly, her voice carrying a hint of sadness. They are strong, the warriors from Universe 6. Can you still sense them? Jirasem asked. Yes, she replied. Their spirits are still here. Then it is your turn to give them a second chance to fight. Lilyview nods. Please protect me for a few moments while I perform the spell. Consider it done, Jirasem answers with confidence. As he speaks, Lilyview's body begins to change. Her bright colors darken into a deep blue, and her form becomes almost ethereal, as if she is no longer fully bound to her physical body. She closes her eyes and raises her hands into a precise, ritualistic gesture, focusing entirely on the spell. Is she casting something? Pirina asked telepathically. Yes, Saunel replied, and judging by the effort she's putting into it, it's going to be powerful. We need to interrupt her before she finishes. The two Namekians prepare to move, but Jirasem steps forward. Your intentions are obvious, he says calmly. If you want to reach her, you will have to go through me and my friends. The Namekians hesitate for a brief moment, confused. Then Jirasem releases a burst of ki. From the ground around him, the same unnatural plants from before erupt once again, growing violently, twisting and expanding as they surge toward the Namekians. A massive wall of vines rushes at them. The same plants as before, Saunel says through telepathy. They resist energy attacks, use physical force. Pirina immediately enhances his arms with ki, while Saunel conjures a physical blade similar to a katana. In perfect coordination, they charge forward. The sword slashes, fists strike, vines are torn apart. Even as the plants regenerate endlessly, the two Namekians push forward, cutting through the relentless assault. Their movements are synchronized, their coordination sharpened further by telepathy as they avoid being ensnared. Step by step, they close the distance. Once they are close enough, Pirina suddenly increases his size, grabbing and restraining a large portion of the vines. Saunel seizes the opening. He rushes forward at full speed, cutting through the remaining tendrils that attempt to stop him. Ahead of him, Lilyview floats in place, completely focused, on the verge of completing her spell. Once being close enough, Saunel prepares a single decisive strike. He raises his blade and slashes Lilyview's body with utmost precision and skill. What? My attack phased through her, an intangibility spell? Saunel realizes, frustration flashing through his mind. Before he can react further, Jirasem redirects the plants toward him, forcing Saunel to retreat back to Pirina. Jirasem then steps closer to Lilyview. I'm ready, she says, opening her eyes. With a simple gesture, she activates the spell. Two swirling vortices of magical energy appear beside her. They begin to take shape, slowly forming into humanoid figures. And then they solidify. Napapa, Murisam, both stand once again. She summoned them? Pirina asked in disbelief. They were fighting our science. Saunel replies. I sensed their key signatures disappear earlier. They must have been defeated already. Are you saying she brought them back? She summoned their spirits, and then she reconstructed their bodies using magic energy, Saunel explains. His enhanced senses analyzing the spell. I can feel the magic flowing through them even now. That energy is what's sustaining them, he continues. Once it runs out, their bodies will likely collapse. He narrows his gaze. Regardless, her magic is dangerous. If we don't stop her, she will become a major threat. The Tunamekans take their stances, now facing a 4 against 2 battle. Thanks, kid, for giving us another chance to fight, Napapa says with a calm tone. Yes, Murisam adds. Even if it's only temporarily, we'll make it count. There is no need to thank me, Lilivium replies modestly. This is why I'm here. Jirasem places a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Don't be so humble, Lily. Your abilities are extraordinary. Leave this to us, and go help the rest of the team in securing a victory. Lilivium nods. Yes, may the Fairy Mother bless you all in this battle. Her form fades. She vanishes from sight. She just left? Irina asks, confused. Saunel closes his eyes, focusing his senses. Yes, she is gone. Completely out of the area. His expression grows serious. This isn't good. They are going to stall us while she moves freely. If the others aren't aware of her presence, she will take them by surprise. He clenches his fist. I can't warn them telepathically. The arena's properties are interfering with my range, and I won't be able to focus on both communication and combat. Pirina steps forward. Trust them, Saunel. Our teammates are strong. He looks ahead at their opponents. If we want to help them, then we start by defeating the enemies in front of us. Saunel nods. The Tunamekans ready themselves once more. The battle continues. Kava and Caulifla watch as their friend Kale charges headfirst into yet another battle, this time against the leader of Universe 10. Frustration boils over as Caulifla prepares to jump in, but Kava quickly stops her. Wait, it's better if we help the others first. Let Kale handle this for now. He points toward the distance, where Botamo is shielding Dr. Rotan heat from the relentless long-range assault of the Bird Warrior Jim. Damn it! Caulifla hesitates, clenching her fists. I get it, Kava continues. We trained together for a whole year only to end up letting her fight alone. But against those two, he glances back at Kale and Rubalt. We just get in her way. Caulifla lowers her head slightly, forcing herself to think clearly. As the older sister, I should be setting the example. She exhales, regaining her composure. Fine, I will deal with that annoying bear. You go make sure everyone else is okay. Without waiting for a response, she blasts off toward Jim. Meanwhile, Kava scans the battlefield and quickly spots Mayeta, collapsed among the rubble. She rushes over, realizing the metal man has taken significant damage, not just physically, but emotionally. After being blindsided by Kale's attack, depleted. Let's get you back to the doctor, buddy, Kava says, lifting Mayeta's massive frame and carrying him toward Dr. Rota. Once there, Kava and Hit briefly discuss Kale's condition. They come to a difficult but necessary conclusion. For now, it's best to let Kale continue fighting in her berserk state. Only if she turns on her allies again will Hit intervene. For the moment, their priority is clear: recover strength. With Jim no longer targeting them, Botamo shrinks his body and hops onto Kava's shoulders, maintaining direct contact to extend his defensive ability. Now, protected by Botamo's near impenetrable barrier, Kava takes off, once more heading straight toward Caulifla to assist her. Caulifla, however, has been struggling to pin Jim down. It's not just the power of his attacks. His speed is exceptional. Through a mix of agility and suppressive fire, the Bird Warrior has managed to keep her at bay. But with Kava joining the chase, that advantage begins to fade. Jim unleashes repeated gusts of ki, infused wind to push them back, but Kava absorbs the impact effortlessly thanks to Botamo's barrier, allowing both Science to steadily close the gap. Cornered, Jim suddenly receives a telepathic message. "I come to help you, Jim. I will create an opening. Be ready to counter." Hidden from sight, Lilivium has arrived. From her astral state, she carefully observed the battlefield, searching for the optimal target. Her spell is powerful but risky. If used correctly, however, it could guarantee an elimination. After analyzing every fighter on Team 6, she makes her choice, Botamo. And now, the perfect moment has arrived. Jim flies at full speed toward the edge of the arena, the Science rapidly closing in behind him. Then, without losing momentum, he suddenly pivots mid-air, charging straight back at them, his body wrapped in ki. Taking advantage of Botamo's barrier, Kava prepares to intercept him. He moves in to grab Jim head-on, confident he can stop him without taking damage or letting him escape again. It would have been the perfect move, but just as he braced for impact, he feels Botamo jump off his shoulders. Both Science are caught off guard. Before they can react, Jim crashes into them, knocking them back. The hit isn't particularly damaging, but it's enough for him to slip away once again. However, their attention immediately shifts. Botamo. To their shock, their teammate is flying in the opposite direction, straight toward the edge of the arena. "What the hell is he doing?" Caulifla shouts. Kava quickly focuses, sensing something off about Botamo's ki, as if it's being softly disturbed by another faint, almost imperceptible presence. "I will go get him," Kava yells, darting after him at full speed. Jim sees the opportunity. With a powerful flap of his wings, he unleashes a relentless barrage of wind gusts, targeting both Science and Botamo. Caulifla and Kava are pushed back momentarily, but they quickly regain control. Botamo does not. Without his barrier active, the gusts send him hurtling even faster toward the boundary. Damn it! Furious, Caulifla fires a powerful ki blast at Jim, forcing him to stop his assault. But it's already too late. Kava pushes his speed to the limit, closing the distance to Botamo, but just as he's about to reach him, he sees something. A faint, spirit-like figure detaches from Botamo's body. So that's it, Kava realizes. In her astral form, Lilivium rushes straight toward Kava. They clash briefly mid-air, exchanging blows, but Lilivium quickly disengages, slipping past him. Kava immediately refocuses on Botamo. Too late. Botamo crosses the boundary. He is eliminated. Kava clenches his fists, frustration flashing across his face. But he doesn't linger on it. The battle isn't over. Meanwhile, Caulifla has already caught up to Jim. In close combat, she overwhelms him with ease. But before she can finish him off, she senses another presence. Lilivium. Now, Forced to fight both opponents at once, Caulifla briefly holds her ground before disengaging and regrouping with Kava as he returns. And Botamo, she asks. Kava hesitates for a moment. He's out. What? What the hell happened? Why did he just fly off like that? She did it. Kava replies, locking his gaze onto Lilivium. She got close while we were distracted and took control of him. Botamo's barrier protects against physical attacks, but this wasn't physical. It had to be some kind of psychic technique. This team really hates fighting fair, Caulifla mutters. She can hide her presence too, Kava adds. We can't afford to lose track of her again. Caulifla nods, her expression sharpening. Then we take her out first. Exactly. We don't know the limits of her control. It's too dangerous to leave her unchecked. Both Saiyans ready themselves for the next exchange. Nice work, Jim says through telepathy. With him gone, their defense isn't nearly as untouchable. Shall we fall back? Lilivium asks. I won't be able to use my magic again for a while. No, Jim replies. They won't let us disengage now. We hold our ground. He pauses briefly before continuing. Once your magic recovers, can you control another one? Lilivium hesitates. Maybe one of them, but the others will be too risky. Understood. Then we survive until then. And he stops mid-sentence. A massive explosion erupts nearby. The shockwave ripples across the battlefield, interrupting every ongoing fight between Universe 6 and 10. Without hesitation, Caulifla and Kava abandon their current fight toward the disturbance originated from Kale's position. Jim and Lilivium follow soon after. Returning to the beginning of the clash between the Berserk Saiyan and the leader of Team 10. With a powerful counterpunch, Kale strikes Rubalt. He managed to block, but the sheer force still sends him sliding back. Without hesitation, Kale fires a key wave at point-blank range, leaving no time to evade. Acting on instinct, Rubalt materializes a shield and braces for impact. But the shield doesn't simply block the attack, it absorbs the energy. In the same motion, he forms a cannon around his other arm, channels both the absorbed ki and his own power into it, and fires the attack back at Kale. The blast lands directly, yet the Berserk Saiyan doesn't flinch. She pushes through the damage and charges straight at him. Rubalt raises his shield again, but this time Kale doesn't meet it head-on. Instead, she strikes from the side with overwhelming force, breaking his stance and leaving him exposed. In an instant, she grabs his neck, tightening her grip to shock him. Reacting quickly, Rubalt dismisses his shield and materializes a knife. With precise control, he drives the blade into a vulnerable muscle in Kale's arm. Her grip alters, just enough for him to break free. He immediately capitalizes on the opening. Closing the distance, Rubalt engages in close quarters combat, combining knife strikes with hand-to-hand techniques. Kale, now even more enraged, counters with raw, unpredictable brutality, but Rubalt remains composed. Even against a relentless beast, he keeps his focus, blocking, dodging, and countering each wild strike, carving small but precise cuts across her body. Then, in a brief opening, he lunges forward and drives the blade deep into her shoulder. Kale grunts, her muscles tightening violently around the weapon. Rubalt tries to pull the knife free. It doesn't budge. Her muscles have locked it in place. He lets go, but that brief hesitation cost him. Kale slams her body into him, sending him flying back. As Rubalt regains his footing, Kale is already moving. With terrifying strength, she rips the knife from her shoulder and throws it straight at his head. He barely reacts in time, dematerializing the weapon just before the impact. Kale closes the distance instantly and drives a massive punch into his face. Blood spraying, his jaw cracking under the force, and she doesn't stop. Blow after blow rains down on him. Struggling to stay conscious, Rubalt's thoughts drift for a moment. She is just like I used to be. A beast driven by uncontrollable rage, leaving nothing but destruction behind, foes and allies alike. Under different circumstances, I might have helped her to master her rage, but this is war. I will not be defeated. For the first time, Rubalt let his own rage take control. As Kale continues her assault, he begins to fight back, not with refined technique, but with pure, unrestrained force. Two beasts collide. Punch after punch, they abandon defense, trading devastating blows. Neither slows down, neither yields, until, at the exact same moment, both warriors land a full power punch. The impact explodes outward, and both are sent flying back. For the first time since their clash began, both fighters stop. They create distance, taking a brief moment to catch their breath and regain composure. Rubalt exhales sharply, snapping himself out of the rage that had overtaken him. His mind clears, focused, controlled once again. Kale, however, is not so fortunate. Still in her berserk state, she clutches her head with one hand, her body trembling. The pain isn't just from the battle, her mind is being overwhelmed. A violent migraine pulses through her as her seemingly endless rage begins to take its toll. Her power surges once more, reaching its peak, and this time she has hit her limit. Her power increased again, Rubalt thinks. She is stronger than me now. But then he notices her instability. Her body and mind can't handle it. For a brief moment, something unexpected crosses his thoughts. Pity. I can't hesitate now. She might have the advantage in raw strength, but like this, her key control is sloppy. I will only get one chance. This is for the best for my team and her. As Rubalt steadies himself, preparing to strike, Kale's energy suddenly erupts. A violent storm of ki bursts from her body. Rubalt instinctively creates distance, recognizing what's coming. She is about to release everything, all at once. Given his condition, dodging isn't an option. Without hesitation, Rubalt summons his final weapon. A massive heavy cannon materializes over his shoulder. He plants his feet firmly, channeling every last bit of his ki into it, aiming directly at Kale. At the same time, Kale gathers the chaotic storm of energy into the palm of her hand, compressing it into a single devastating attack. And then, they fire. Two colossal waves of energy collide. The impact shakes the battlefield. The shockwaves tear through the air, cracking and shattering the arena beneath them. The sheer magnitude of their clash is so overwhelming that every other fight between Universe 6 and 10 comes to a halt. Unrestrained, this level of power could swallow an entire universe with ease. For a moment, the two forces remain locked. Kale's raw power is greater, but her lack of control weakens its efficiency. Rubalt, with precision and focus, managed to keep up and equalize the clash, but neither can sustain it. Both fighters have reached their absolute limit. And as their strength fades, the two massive attacks collide fully. detonating into a catastrophic explosion, one that will consume them both, a double elimination. From below, Makeup, who had been recovering, reacts instantly. Sensing the danger, he leaps from the fractured arena and merges with Rubalt. With Rubalt unable to move on his own, Makeup takes control, forcing his body to stand and escape just before the explosion engulfs them. Kale is not as fortunate. Unconscious, she remains at the center of the blast, until, in the final instant, her body vanishes. She reappears far from the explosion, held in the arms of Universe 6 leader, Hit. As the explosion fades and the dust finally settles, that section of the arena is left in ruins. Holding Kale in his arms, he swiftly brings her to Dr. Rota, who immediately begins treating her wounds. Hit then steps forward, positioning himself alongside Mayeta, forming a defensive line to guard her from any incoming threat. I thought you would not come out until you had fully recovered your energy, Makeup. Rubalt says through telepathy to his ally, now merged within him. I apologize, Makeup replies. I could have joined you earlier, but I must admit that Cyan terrified me. I didn't want that fear to affect you during the battle while merged with you. You fulfilled your role as best as you could, and you saved me. That's what matters, Rubalt responds calmly. More importantly, it seems that we lost our chance to eliminate her. He glances toward Kale in the distance. She truly is terrifying, not with fear, but with a quiet sense of admiration. From behind, Murishim and Jilkol arrive. What a fight that was, Rubalt, Murishim says. You have regained consciousness, Rubalt notes. I did what I could with my limited abilities, Zirkor replies. Perhaps Makeup can assist further. Soon after, Lilivium and Jim joins them. 6 members of Universe 10 now stand together. But Rubalt quickly assessed the situation. Few fighters lost, the remaining members exhausted. Even himself is running out of energy. Aside from Obuni, none of them are in condition to continue prolonged combat. If they keep fighting like this, they risk total collapse, leaving themselves vulnerable to the other universes. Maybe there is still a way, Rubalt thinks. Meanwhile, Cav and Caulifla arrive at Hit's position. Both immediately rush toward Kale, concern written all over their faces. Is she okay, old man? Caulifla asks impatiently, grabbing her sister's hand. She is alive, Dr. Rota replies calmly, continuing his work, just unconscious. Will she be able to keep fighting? Kava asks, his tone more measured. His concern clearly focused on her well-being rather than the battle. That depends entirely on her, Rota answers. Now, allow me to concentrate. Caulifla hesitates, but she understands. Protecting Kale now means stepping back into the fight. Both Science move to stand beside Hit. How is she? Hit asks without turning. She will recover, Caulifla replies with confidence. About Botamu, Hit continues. As the mention of his name, Mayeta lets out a sorrowful heavy sound. He was controlled, Kava says, pointing toward Lilivium, most likely by her. A troublesome ability, Hit notes. Kava places a hand on Mayeta, trying to console him. I'm sorry about Botamu. The metal man remains silent, clearly shaken. Botamu might be gone, Hit says firmly, but we will make up for it. Won't we, Mayeta? The words strike something within him. Mayeta straightens, his resolve hardening, pushing past the emotional weight of his allies' loss. You are the leader of that team, aren't you? Hit. Rubalt's voice echoes from the other side. I have a proposal. Let's meet in the middle. Without hesitation, the leader of Universe 10 begins walking forward, alone. His ki drops to the minimum to move. His guard lowers, a clear sign to show no intention to fight. Despite the risk of a trap, he accepts, confident in his abilities and his ability to escape any situation. He steps forward as well, mirroring Rubalt's lowered guard. The assassin and the soldier approach one another, both ready for whatever comes next. Once they are close enough, the two finally speak. "Thanks for coming, unguarded," Rubalt says. "Someone asking for a discussion in the middle of this tournament. That's unexpected," it replies. "But I already have a good idea of what you're proposing. In that case, I'll keep it simple," Rubalt continues. "A temporary ceasefire, long enough for both sides to retreat and regroup. After that, you are free to attack us again." It remains silent for a moment. His gaze shifts past Rubalt toward the rest of Universe 10's team. He also senses the ongoing battles elsewhere. Frost still clashing with Obuni, and the Namekians engaged in their own fight. The assassin begins calculating remaining energy level, number of opponents, known abilities, future risks. Yes, Team 6 currently holds the advantage, but not by enough to wipe out an entire team without losses. And it is still early in the tournament. The chance to recover now could prove invaluable later. In fact, a full recovery will only widen the gap between them and Universe 10. And Rubalt knows this too, and yet is willing to take the risk. Because survival comes first. Except, Kid finally says, "I will have my team pull back." A pragmatic decision, one made with the long game in mind. Both leaders turn away without another word, showing no signs of hostility as they return to their respective sides. Those nearby are informed directly, and those further away receive the order telepathically. Frost and Obuni are the first to disengage. Their one-on-one battle comes to an abrupt halt, both fighters stepping back. For Frost, it's a good outcome. He's managed to hold his own without revealing the full extent of his abilities. Elsewhere, the Namekians' battle reaches its conclusion. Through flawless coordination, Saunel and Pirina had been holding their ground against Jirasem and the summoned spirits of Murisam and Napapa. Saunel ultimately eliminates both spirits. Even if not at full power, these spirits pose a serious threat, forcing Saunel to expend a considerable amount of energy to defeat them. With them gone, Pirina shifts his full focus on Jirasem, but the fight stalls. Neither side is able to gain a decisive advantage, and soon after, both the Namekians and Jirasem receive the same signal: retreat. For now, both teams retreat on their own sides and lick their wounds as much as they can before the battle comes to them again. For the next episode, we turn our attention to the Pride Troopers as they clash against Universes 2 and 3, featuring the first true display of power from the strongest mortal of the tournament, Jiren. This will be the final episodes before entering the middle phase of the Tournament of Power, and also the most chaotic one. Thanks for watching and see you next time.